What is up, folks? Welcome back to the channel. This is Love for G.T.S, where we talk about guns, tactics, and shooting. All right, as you guessed from the title, we're going to be talking about the Canik TP9SF, which is one of those guns that went from market uncertainty to a fan favorite. And Canik has pretty much taken over the market ways now. As a special treat, while I was there, I did rent a Canik Mete Prime. I always wanted to shoot one of these. I never got around to it, but today we're going to put some rounds through it and check it out and see what the hype is about. Now, before we get to shooting, we always want to check out the triggers, feel the slide, see how the gun feels. Oh yeah, that's a nice trigger. Nice, crisp. Reset is dope. We'll check it out again. And anybody who's shot Canics, we already know what the triggers are like. So that was the Prime, and this is going to be the TP9SF. You'll see the trigger is like on this one. This one has a lot more take up in the pre-travel. All right, but the reset is nice and crisp, just like the Prime and all the other Canik variants that I've tried. Now this is going to be the Canik TP9SF, which I've had since 2019. It's the 1 series that came out back then. So the gun's been pretty solid. Obviously I've had it for like 7 years and it is still a great performer. So I'll compare it to the Canik Prime. As you can see, the TP9SF has a 5-inch barrel, and I believe the Canik Prime has a 4-inch barrel. Here's a side-by-side of the slides, and you can kind of see the difference there. Now, all of the Canik variants pretty much take all of the same magazines. Of course, the bigger frame ones like the TP9SF, you can't put the shorter magazines in there because it just won't fit. But the more capacity magazines, like the one that came with this one, which I believe is a 18-round magazine, will fit in the Canik Prime and all the other variants, and it cycles great. The rounds that I'm shooting right here are going to be 115 grain hollow points. Now, I never kept a round count on this gun, but I do know the first like 3 years that I had it, I was putting over 1,000 rounds through it a year. So if I had to guess, this gun is probably over 4,000 rounds. And mind you, like I said, I've had it since 2019, so it's what, about 7 years old. It transitioned from being a gun that I used for a lot of range use into kind of being a nightstand gun. All right, so let's go ahead and put first rounds for the Canik Prime. And after the first few shots, I can already tell you that the Canik Prime is a little bit snappier than the TP9SF, but that's mostly due to the barrel size and the girth of the gun itself. All right, if you're looking at the target right here, you can already see that I'm not very accurate with the Canik Prime. And this kind of continued throughout the use of the Canik Prime. And there's no diss to the Prime itself. I think it may be just this particular gun. Or maybe it was me. I'm not really sure. But I never could get accurate with this gun for some reason. So despite the accuracy issues that I was personally having with this gun, the gun actually felt good. The recoil was definitely not as crazy as some people have made it out to be. It actually felt really controlled. The slide cycled really well. The trigger, of course, felt really good. It was short on the reset, and the initial trigger pull was pretty good. But for some reason, I just could not be accurate with this gun. I don't know what's going on. Now, it is a rental from a place, and I don't know what the round count is and all that, but I started looking at the sights right here, and the sights appear to be lined up perfectly. So I don't think the sights are the issue. I'm not sure what was going on here. All right, despite the issues with the Canik Prime, the TP9SF is definitely one of those go-to guns that I would still recommend to this day. Even once I first shot one back in like 2018, 2019, or whenever that was, um, this gun has definitely been solid and one of those that I've always recommended to people. Now, they've come out with so many different variants of the TP9 series as well as the Mete line, that anything that you want from a compact size up into a duty or a competition, they have some a variant for you. All of these are the ones that I've shot from the TTI Combat, and all excellent guns. So no matter what you're looking for, man, they have a Canik out there for you. Now you'll notice there's no optic on this gun, and a lot of times I don't really run a lot of optics anyway. But this particular model came out during a time where optics weren't really that prevalent, so it's not even cut to house an optic. I think a lot of the 1 series, including the one that they just dropped in 2026, is not optic cut, if I remember correctly. It may be, I may be wrong, but this particular one is not cut for an optic. It's an older version. They do have TP9 variants that are cut for an optic, and they have some that come with the mechanic optics. So, yeah, definitely check them out. All right, so now we're back at the tabletop. We're gonna just run over the gun real quick, and you guys let me know what you think. 2026 is still a good buy. Canik TP9SF is a really nice gun. I will just show clear for the camera. This is a 4.46-inch barrel gun. Now, this one in particular I did buy as the 1 series, so it only came with one magazine. I did purchase another magazine. Canik magazines are not really expensive, so there's that. And when you buy the original model and not the 1 series model, it does come with two 18-round magazines and a holster and a couple of other accessories that Canik is known for throwing in the box. But if you want to just get in the cheapest way possible, you buy the 1 series. They have a Mete 1 series that I think dropped last year or this year, and then a full size that also dropped. But at any rate, going over this real quick, as you can see, like I said, I've had this gun since 2019. You can see there's some wear in the coating here in several places. See that all up here, the coating is wearing. This is from putting it in a holster, throwing it in drawers, in safes, and then just banging it around on different ranges, running through different scenarios. So you can just kind of get an overall view of how the coating held up. I believe this is a Cerakote. I'm not 100% sure. But for 7 years, I think this is pretty decent, especially for the price point that this gun came in at. Um, so just going over the gun real quick. I know we pointed out the barrel. Now, if you look at this barrel, one thing I do want to point out is this barrel is thick. Look at that. All right. And then it has a metal guide rod as well. Um, Now, one thing that I'm not a big fan of is this slide stop right here. So it has this 1 point. It's not ambidextrous. And, it's just not the best. I mean, it's really low profile and kind of slick. Does it get the job done? Absolutely. I mean, acts as a good slide stop. You can take down whatever. It's not bad. Does have the Glock style takedown here, which I'm not going to do right now. I wish there was a different trigger shoe, but you can buy variants with a better trigger shoe. So um, mag release is pretty nice. Never had an issue with releasing a mag. On this particular model, it is a little bit kind of flush with the frame, but it protrudes enough to actuate each time without issue. Now, one thing I did appreciate about this series of Canik is the Warren Tactical sights. So this rear sight here, and then it has the front sight there, white dot, and then blacked out rear. But these sights are actually really nice, man. I've never had an accuracy issue with these sights. It does have the loaded chamber indicator on top as well as on the rear, which is pretty standard for Canik. Then it has the exchangeable back straps, so you can go from your small, medium, large, depending on your hand size. That works. And then for a gun that came out way back, what, 7, 8? Actually, I think this original model dropped in 2016. It does have these points here that are textured for you to place your thumb or index finger. Now the one on this side just says, made in Turkey. But so it should actually have had this texture up here. Maybe they could have moved this back here, since you don't really need this point on the right side of the gun. It does have a pretty nice undercut here on the trigger guard. One thing it's missing that they did include on the Mete series that kind of took place of this one is they added a double undercut right here. So that was a nice addition on that particular model, but this particular one doesn't. So all in all, man, is this a good buy in 2026? It depends on the purpose of the gun. I mean, like I said, this is not a primary carry or anything for me like the or EDC. Now, could it be used for that purpose? Absolutely. I personally use this gun for home defense. It is great for that because it's accurate, it is reliable, and it is a durable gun. All right. I have probably over 5,000 rounds to this gun, and don't remember really having any issues with this gun ever. It shot pretty much any type of ammo that I put in it, and it's been solid, right? I did put this Crimson Trace light on here. This light's been on here for probably 4 or 5 years, maybe. Which we're not talking about the light, but light has held up. No issues with that. Well, like I said, for 2026, still a good buy for home defense and even for carry, depending on your need and how you carry. There are a lot of different options on the market from Canik and from other manufacturers that are more feature rich than this gun, obviously. But if you're just looking for something inexpensive to jump into that is solid and will be reliable, then yeah, absolutely, this is still a great buy. If you want more features, you want more modern things on your pistol, then yeah, there are some other alternatives to look at, including inside of Canik, the Mete Prime, and then there is the Mete line with the MC, I think 9L LS that are also variants of the Prime without the comp. And then they have the actual Mete SF line, which is pretty similar to the TP9SF line, just with some additional features. Like I mentioned, the undercut, and then it's optic cut and all of that. And that is one thing about the TP9 itself line. The original ones were not optic cut, but I believe the elite models are optic cut. So just depends on what you're looking for. But yeah, if you just need a budget friendly gun to buy for self-defense or to carry, that you don't need a bunch of feature rich stuff and you just want something that works, still a good buy. Peace.